OCAM, WBEE HD2, and W239BF Rochester. The sports leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950 WGR Rochester, an Odyssey sports station. Welcome into the Sports Bar with Gene Battaglia, where the voice of the Rochester fan is heard. Pull up a stool and join us at 866-4326. This is WGR Rochester, and the Sports Bar with Gene Battaglia is on now.
2 hours of sports talk excellence here in this Flower City. Thank you for joining us. Sun is out from the High Falls Studios in downtown Rochester. My name is Gene Battaglia. Join us, 585-866-4326. That is our phone number. You can reach us on X, our handle at WGR Rochester. You can leave a comment. We're on YouTube and Twitch. Of course, 95.7 FM. AM 950, streaming for free inside the Odyssey app, where today it's concluding the last week of non-football, in my opinion. Now, yes, the Panthers and the Cardinals have already opened up camp. They're in the Hall of Fame game. But by the time we get to next week, Monday, we will have the alternate uniform unveiling for the Buffalo Bills, which is not going to be a surprise, right? We've been telling you all along there will be a royal blue helmet with kind of a new version of the Bills logo to go along with gray uniforms. They're going to call it nickel and get cute, whatever. I'm going to reserve judgment until I actually see it, and it'll help the team certainly in their merchandise sales. So that's the appetizer on Monday. Tuesday, players report. Years ago, that was always 6 o'clock news here locally. Here are the players. They're bringing in their TVs, and then they'll talk, and they'll be talking about how excited they are. You're not going to get any of that anymore. Just the idea that, hey, they're in town Wednesday morning, 8:30, first practice at St. John Fisher University, where, to me, your headline story still remains Joe Brady. New head coach. First time since 2017. Think about that. The last time we had that happening, we were coming off of Rex Ryan.
The glory days.
Yeah, like we want to. You want to be somebody, and I know everybody's out there, and I will listen to that. People that want to dump on McDermott and 13 seconds and the 9/11 analogy and everything. All right, well, the total body of work. Sean McDermott took a franchise that was in the dumpster and brought them to not only respectability, kind of like one of the model franchises. You could say, well, yeah, you have Josh Allen. How hard could it be? Well, you're number one. They didn't have Josh Allen. So that's always going to be in McDermott's favor. Yeah, we got a lot of football to look forward to coming up next week. So today, let's just kind of, like as Jim Rome would say, just kind of lay out, kick out, relax. You can give us a call, 585-866-4326. Fun interview I've got lined up for you at the bottom of this hour. Because if you're somebody that likes, the international events, so to speak, like the World Cup, the Olympics, well, isn't it fun to learn about a local angle before it actually kind of happens? That's what's coming up at 1:30 here today. You're not familiar with the name Joey Whalen. Joey Whalen, when he did the Buffalo Marathon, he only did it because it's kind of his hometown area. He's somebody that competes on a global stage, Hamburg, other places. I'm not talking about Hamburg, New York. I'm talking about Germany, Hamburg. And I remember seeing the tweet from Josh Reed, WIPB. Who is this guy? He just obliterated the field in Buffalo. Well, he's a U.S. Olympic hopeful in the men's marathon, and he's from Webster. That's kind of saying something, like somebody Rochester-based training in Rochester for the marathon. You would think that would be from a different climate. He's got a great story to tell. He's got his own podcast, too. Joey Whalen will be joining us in studio. Hour number 2 is open for you. You can give us a call on the Good Smoke Barbecue and Pub Wingman line at 585-866-4326. Award-winning barbecue from Good Smoke Barbecue and Pub, 135 West Commercial Street, East Rochester, goodsmokebbq.com. Tim Schneider, our fine producer, Dan DeLorean in the other room. And what do you know? We have another guest here today. And wave to the camera. That, for our viewers on YouTube and Twitch, is the younger brother of PJ Glasser, Nathan Glasser, who is an intern this summer with the Rochester Red Wings. He's going to school at Ithaca. And, the Glasser name. There's 3 of them, right? There's PJ, there's Nathan, there's actually Philip on there. So, Nathan, welcome aboard, bud. Glad to have you in. Just say out loud. Can you just say Megan Rapinoe There we go. Love that. Thank you. Welcome aboard, Nate. So he's just kind of in here just hanging out with us as we invite you to kind of hang out with us here today as well. Patrick Kane goes to the Blackhawks. If you've been paying attention here, I don't think anybody was holding out hope that this was going to happen for the Buffalo Sabres. Look, it would have been a fun story. It would have added a little spice to this. It would have brought a different element. But the longer this dragged on, it was one of those, do you want to be here or not? And the answer was not. And Chicago they're drunk, basically. What they spent there in the draft capital for Bo Byram, look, Bo Byram was a good player. He is not one of the top 10 defensemen in this league. Okay? He's just not. He was the number 3 defenseman in Buffalo last year. So good on Chicago. Maybe they see something there. Patrick Kane going back to Chicago. And presumably this is where he's going to wrap up his career. It's a 2-year deal. Look, it would have been nice again. And the easy thing to say, you're Jeremy White in the morning always point this out when somebody doesn't come to your team. Oh, not for that money. No way, that wouldn't have made any sense. Okay, well, if the Sabres locked up long-term Zach Benson, can we nod that Zach Benson is the future of the Sabres? Yeah, 3, 4, 5 years from now. Yeah, it's 7 years, an average of $7.5 million. Well, then, I mean, you're going to pay Patrick Kane more than that? More? People pay attention to what everybody's being paid, so you got to kind of factor that in as well. My faith is in Jarmo Kekalainen because if you remember last year, and I do, the Sabres in December were the worst team in the Eastern Conference. They were right at the bottom, mid-December, and then all of a sudden, wow, the light bulb went off for everybody. I'm not suggesting that the Buffalo Sabres repeat this. Holy cow, that would be a problem. What I'm suggesting is, hey, it's a long season. There will be ups and downs, but over the course of a long season, they will win enough games, and when they do win enough games, then you get to March, you figure out what you need at the trade deadline. And when you get to the trade deadline, that's when you can kind of factor in, all right, let's go get a piece here or there. Joey Whalen joining us in studio. Just came in. I love it. You got into the studio. Look, you're even wearing your Olympic Trials. Let me read that. U.S. Olympic Trials Marathon. Put on the headset there. All right, so we are live on the air, Joe. I'm just throwing you on the air. You're doing your own podcast. You should know how this kind of works. So for everybody, I was just telling your story just a little bit, but to kind of dive into this further, Joey, thank you for coming down.
Yeah.
This is a lot of fun. So Joey is based, and you got your Bills hat on too. So you were born in Buffalo.
Yes, sir.
And so you're born in Buffalo. You went to Syracuse.
Yep.
Cross-country Syracuse, doing the whole long-distance thing. You are running marathons at Syracuse. Your body kind of takes a beating, at a young age, and you go to Texas. What got you back into running, Joey?
I mainly to check off the marathon off my bucket list. Yeah,
so
I was turning 26 years old, so I was like, 26 miles, 26 years old. Let's go to Buffalo and run a marathon and have that be it and call it a career almost. And then I kind of caught fire a little bit and was like, oh, I could actually be pretty good at this distance.
You're kidding. So you never ran a marathon until you were 26 years old?
Yes.
It's never even crossed your... Okay, so what was the first time? Do you remember your first time in the marathon?
Yeah, it was in Buffalo.
What was it? But what time did you run?
It was 2 hours and 25 minutes.
And just to kind of compare that, 2 hours 25. What the last go round for the Olympics? Do you remember what was the qualifying time?
It was 2:18, I believe. 2 hours 18.
So at that point, you're like, I just did this in 2:25. Like, is that like? Does anybody pull you aside at that point and like, hey, Joe, you've got something here? Like, is that when the light bulb goes off? Like, maybe I should put a little into this.
Yeah, I mean, I think the light bulb went off kind of during the race because when you run a marathon, they always say like halfway is like mile 20, and then I felt really good at mile 20, and I'm like, oh, like I could really be good at this.
Yeah,
if I go out a little harder, because I went out a little too conservative, I went out a little too slow,
Okay.
and then was picking it up towards the end a bit more, so I knew I had more room to improve.
What's your personal best?
Right now it's 2:09:42,
Okay.
which is 4:56 a mile pace.
Wow. Tim's shaking his head. That is unbelievable. Joey Whalen joining us in studio. So you run that, and then what's next? Because to train, you also have to like feed yourself, support yourself. So how do you balance the two when you decide, okay, maybe I'm going to put a little bit more into this?
I mean, just going all in, kind of doing everything. Like, because when you get to this level, you do have to put a significant amount of more work. Like, I can't just get by on running 70 miles a week anymore. Like, if I want to be at a professional level, I need to like pretty much double the miles. So I need to run like 130 miles a week, which it's running 18 to 20 miles a day.
Wow.
And like splitting it up, but then you think like eating a lot is like going to be the easy part. It's hard. It's hard to eat a lot because you're not hungry a lot of times, but your body needs it. So it's a lot of like forcing food down.
Forcing food. So give me an example. Is it like a special drink that you're throwing back, or how do you pound calories then?
I'll first thing in the morning I'll eat before I run. Like, so I'll eat like a bagel before I run, and then after I run, I typically make breakfast tacos. I took that up from Texas, so it's just easy for me to put down. And then I'll call it like my second lunch is like a turkey sandwich, which I'm not usually hungry for, and then just typically like a big dinner.
Wow, that is, well, I mean, hey, you're burning all those calories. Are there any foods you have to stay away from?
No.
I
don't eat like I eat generally pretty good, but it's not perfect.
Okay, so like nothing like,
So, like
salty, fried, anything like that?
I mean, because you do like it's all energy.
It's all energy. I was like thinking, okay, anything that would,
something is better than nothing.
that's true. So you were 26. How old are you now, Joey?
35.
35. When do marathoners typically peak?
We're seeing more like lately that people are peaking in their like late 30s. It just kind of depends. So like I would say like 35 to 40 even. I mean, back in 2020, one of the guys in the U.S. team was 41, and he made it.
Okay.
So
all right. So this,
you're telling me I got a chance.
you got a chance. So 35, 2 years from now. Before we get to the U.S. Olympic trial talk, Joey Whalen joining us here. He's in Webster, a Buffalo native. Went down to Texas, has family down in Texas. But I think you're one of us now, buddy. You were like, yeah, you're in Western New York. Walk me through, like, how many marathons are you actually competing? I was mentioning before you came on the air that you competed over in Germany. You're doing things around the globe now.
Yeah, I compete in quite a lot of marathons compared to some of the other professionals, but I kind of use marathons in my build-ups as workouts per se. So I don't have like a really big training group here. A lot of people are living out in the mountains. People are living in like Colorado or like Flagstaff, Arizona. So when I'm making my race schedules, I will pick, like I did the Buffalo Marathon this year as a build up into the Duluth Marathon and kind of use it as a hard workout. So I'll typically do like 8 marathons a year, but really only run hard in them like 3 times, like an all-out effort 3 times.
All out. That's incredible. Like 456 would be like an all-out effort. How do you deal with it mentally as a runner? Like, you're a Bills fan, right? Hey, it's December and the Bills are down by 3 touchdowns in Foxborough. You're Josh on. No problem. We got time on the clock. What is that like when you're in a race and just something doesn't feel right off? You're looking at your splits. You're looking at things. Like, how do you manage that portion of being a runner?
It's just about like just staying positive
Okay.
about it all. So just knowing that I've been through this before, like you're almost like tricking your brain.
Mm-hmm.
You almost think like, say I'm at mile 22 and I don't feel good. I just try to like trick my brain being like, all right, I just have to run one more mile and I could be done. And then you kind of just do that every mile, and you just know 1 mile at a time.
1 mile.
Yeah.
And there's no quit in that.
And then you just keep like, I'll do it where like a lot of times when Monica, my wife, she'll ask me like, where should I be on the course? I'll often tell her at mile 25, because then I'm like, all right, I just need to get to Monica, and then once I get to Monica, I could just make it the rest of the way. I know she'll be able to help push me the rest of the way.
That's a theory that my friends and I have. It's called the caveman theory. We made up like, there's my girl. I got to go see her and run really hard. Joey Whalen is our guest here, U.S. Olympic hopeful. You were in the trials 2 years ago.
Yes.
How did that go?
It didn't go that great. So
what did you learn
it was,
that?
I mean, it was very hot. The trials were in Orlando, Florida.
Mm-hmm.
And it was in February. So like coming from Rochester, where we didn't see much sun over the winter, I think that sun exposure got to me. And I was also probably in the beginning stages of being a little anemic, like low in iron. So I just like didn't feel good overall. But it's good to learn the hard way almost.
So okay, for something like that, like at what mile you're like, this isn't happening for me today?
I mean, it was pretty early. It's like probably like mile 12.
Like, let's see what happens. Try to cut this out. Well, this is like the $1 million question, because I love having you in Rochester, but you just kind of mentioned, there are training groups in Colorado and Arizona, and hey, like if you were going to train, where the trials would be, have you given any thoughts of going somewhere else to train here?
I think like if before like the next trials, maybe going somewhere like a little warmer, just for like a 2 week segment or something, just to get used to that like sun exposure, or like just get your body ready for any situation.
Yeah,
I think that's what like I missed out on a little bit. Like what I have to learn from my mistakes, so it's like I got to do something a little different to correct it.
All right, so you know what? I think Tim, you and I will chip in for one night hotel, right? That would work fine. Like we'll be all in. That'll be our NIL here to you.
You got it.
So like that'll be.
I'm in.
Joey Whalen joining us here. And as far as what kind of be 2 years from now, where is that going to be?
It's going to be in St. Louis.
Okay, so not as well. If it's in. When is it going to be? February, or
it's going to be in March?
March. Okay, you don't know what you're going to get down there.
Yeah, exactly.
All right,
which is better for me, because it was between when they were doing the bids. It was between Phoenix and St. Louis. So I'm happy that they went with St. Louis, because Phoenix there would have been no shade.
No shade, and for some runners, maybe they aren't used to the wind, and I don't know what the weather would be like in March in St. Louis.
Yeah, I'm excited. It should be a little hillier too, which that favors me, I would say. I'm more of a strength runner, so yeah.
That sounds good. Joey, we're going to take a break.
Yep.
I want to talk a little Bills with you too as well here. So Joey Whalen is our guest, U.S. Olympic hopeful, based in Webster. If you want to comment, you can write in at WGR Rochester is our handle. You can hit us up by the phone, good old-fashioned phone, 585-866-4326. It's the Sports Bar. Gene Battaglia with you here on WGR Rochester.
Equal opportunity employer.
WGR Rochester Sports Update.
Sabres miss out on Patrick Kane, the Buffalo native, signing with the Chicago Blackhawks. He goes back to Chicago 2 years, $16 million. Rob Ray today on Sabres Live on the Move.
Would have been nice, yeah. Would have been nice for the power play. Would have been nice to have maybe that stature of a person walking in the dressing room too. But I think in the big picture, it comes down to the money side. It's a lot of dough for a man that at that point, maybe injury-wise, you don't know what you're going to get out of him speed-wise. It's a gamble, but it's still, I think, whether he plays a lot or not, I still think he can bring an awful lot to a young group.
Ray today on Sabres Live. Rochester Red Wings continuing their series tonight in Buffalo. On the Major League scoreboard, just 2 games. The Padres leading the Braves in the fourth 3-2. No score in the first between the Twins and the Guardians. Yankees and Mets both off tonight. Gene Battaglin, the sports leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950, WGR Rochester.
Top Shelf Sports Talk. You're hanging out in the sports bar with Gene Battaglia on the Sports Leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950 WGR, Rochester.
Joey Whalen is training for the Olympics based in Webster, joining us here in the sports bar. If you see a guy running around that part, where do you like to train around town here?
I mainly train in Webster.
So
okay. Hojack Trail.
Oh, okay. A little cross-country stuff there. And if you missed the last segment, I mean, he didn't pick this up in real. Like, that, I should say, you were a collegiate athlete for a big-time program at Syracuse, but just hey, it's not a whim. Let me try a marathon at age 26, and you post this kind of great number. How far are you off right now in your estimation? How much time do you got to knock off before that Olympic bid would come?
I would say like about 2 minutes.
Okay. 2 minutes over 26 miles. If you're breaking it up that way, is that a lot or is that manageable?
It's a lot, but it's manageable.
Okay. I guess. And if you catch the right day, like if you said your personal best could, in theory, I'm glad we kind of switched the mics around here. So if you're watching right now on YouTube and Twitch, it says Tim Schnetter. That's actually Joey Whalen that's actually sitting there across from us in his Bills hat. You are a Bills fan. Did you plan a road trip for the Bills this year?
Yeah, we're going to the Bills Rams game in L.A. right after the Chicago Marathon. So Chicago's run on October 10th or 11th, and then we go the next day to L.A.
Perfect time of year to run, is it not? All fall? Yeah, that's perfect. And then, boy, that's Super Bowl preview, buddy. What do you think? Would you sign up for that?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it would be a tough opponent, certainly. Bills. And what do you think of the Bills overall this year?
I mean, it's going to be interesting. It's just a whole new year, new stadium, like new coach essentially.
Yeah.
So yeah, just a lot to be excited for.
New defense. Yeah, everybody's going to be kind of sitting up straight there. Joey Whalen kind of joining us here. You recently got married. By recently, anything under 5 years, I'll say recently. It's been a couple years, but what's that been like for you? How's that help you train?
It's been great. Like Monica helps me out with everything. She allows me to do this full time and to see how good I could get.
Now, she also runs too, but nowhere near at the competitive level that you do. Do you guys ever go running together?
Yeah, we run together a few times. So, like, especially when we go to, like, a new place or if I'm feeling a little tired, and I'll ask her. A lot of times she'll like to run by herself, but sometimes she'll let me run with her.
Okay, so then you just kind of, it's good. Just kind of stretch the legs, get you warmed up there just a little bit on that. Joey Whalen, our guest here in the sports bar, U.S. Olympic hopeful, 585-866-4326. Anybody that wants to jump in or just kind of wish you well, because those trials will be here, before you know it. 2027, you have it kind of mapped out how many marathons you're gonna take in?
Yeah, I sort of have it mapped out. So I'll go to like Chicago this October. I'll go to Spain I'll also go to Spain in December. Then I'll kind of decide what I want to do for like the winter, and then the fall I'll have to see where that lands, because right now I could still qualify for the World Championships, which are in Beijing. Mm-hmm. So like right now I'm aiming for that. I have to hit a certain time standard or get enough points. It's called like World Athletic Points. Okay. To attain that, to earn a spot. And if I earn a spot, that would be in September. And then that'd probably be the only one I would run before the trials.
Okay. Then the trials are in March of 2028, the games in Los Angeles. How much support do you get from the United States team here? Is there any sort of, whether that's with shoes, whether that's with money, like, do you get any support at all in your training?
Right now it's just from other brands. Like I'm not sponsored, but I'm like supported, I would call it.
Okay.
So like Puma has been a big support for me, giving me shoes and gear. I know Nike's going to be sending me out some stuff. Skechers sending me out some stuff. On Running is sending me out some stuff. I'm not in any contract with anybody, so I'm just kind of a mutt right now.
Well, if there's anything that doesn't fit, I think Tim would just kind of take it in because, we got to clothe him and feed him and everything else over here.
But like my running shoes, like the racing shoes that we run in, they're over $300. And then I burn through shoes, and they say they last like 300 miles. Like you're not going to make it much through a training block if I'm running 130 miles a week.
So your body's so in tune with things. Is it so in tune where, okay, we've reached the end of life here with these particular shoes?
Yeah,
for sure. That's something that is unbelievable. Good to know that when you're running these marathons too, and when you won the Buffalo Marathon, do you win anything for that?
Yeah, so I ended up setting the course record there, and I ended up coming home with $3,000.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's something, and then
That's solid, yeah.
That's something you could. You can't exactly make a career out of just running marathons and winning, I suppose. But getting to that Olympic goal, what if it doesn't happen for you, Joe? Like how far do you want to go into this? Would you say?
I just want to see like how good I could get, and like I'll have an answer if I was good enough or not. I won't look back and say, oh, I could have done this. I will have an answer.
You will have an answer.
Yeah.
When you're doing your training, you told me this. If somebody just sees a random water bottle, by a bush, that's you planning out kind of your course in advance. You're putting that much prep into that.
Yeah. So I'll map out courses that I'll do. A lot of times I'll do loops, and I have been setting up. I'll set up even like the TV tables. I'll set up a TV table and then have a bunch of water bottles on, because when I'm practicing, I want to do it like a race situation.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll grab and go. But like a lot of times I'll have like these Gatorades on the table. I used to have a sign on the table that said like marathon training, but like lately I've been having the tables out, and people have been thinking it's just Gatorade for people walking.
Oh.
And people have been taking the Gatorades, and I'm like, all right, I need to put the sign back up. But the problem is I need to get it like laminated or something, because I had the sign up for a little bit, but then it was getting it has like markers, so it was like all like getting washed out.
Yeah, that's probably.
So like it stinks when you're coming around and go, all right, I'm really gonna hit this bottle well, and then see it's missing, and I'm like, oh shoot.
Well, maybe that's where we can volunteer at some point. Like, I'll man the fake water station here, and then all of a sudden, do you like to kind of grab it right off the table, or you like somebody handing it to you?
Because we have to grab it off the table. We can't have it handed to us during the race unless it's a race organizer. So we can't just have like random people, otherwise we'll get disqualified.
Wow.
That has happened to people that hit their qualifiers for the Olympic trials before.
What is the logic behind that? Like somebody like random might push you or something? I don't know what the contact with just a labor.
I'm not really sure, because then you're just getting it at random points. Like it was the time that someone got disqualified, it was someone on a bike handing them fluids.
Oh.
So
okay, yeah, that I could kind of see something like a non-sanctioned. But yeah, if I'm on the course, like, hey Joe, here you go, and like run over, no, not at all. Can I high five you on the course?
Yeah,
no?
I give out high fives.
You get out high fives, but like not when you're running that quickly. So, did you watch the Olympics?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. That's a dumb question. What did you think? Were you like, you're watching that? You went to the U.S. Olympic trials in Orlando, and then the Olympics in Paris. Was it a case of, man, I'm not that far off? Was it, okay, maybe I'm not ready for this? What were your thoughts watching that?
It's just a really cool event, because when you first see it, the fields are pretty small, because you have only 3 individuals from each country. So there's really not that many, and not all the countries hit the standards to be eligible.
Mm-hmm.
So there may be like 100 people in that race. So it's weird to watch a race that has like 100 people in it. Because like even the Olympic trials is considered a small race, and the Olympic trials has about 250 guys. So it just looks different because it's small. But I really like when because it was in Paris, and just like the locations and landmarks they run by is really cool, and that it's like it was a challenging course.
How much strategy goes into it? In other words, you're going to let somebody, when you get to that point, you're going to let somebody else set the pace? Do you want to set the pace? You want to be in like these packs, right? Correct? That would help along there. So what is your mindset? Because I would imagine there's some strategy here.
Yeah, it's going to really depend on it's going to be in St. Louis, so weather is going to be the great equalizer, and the course is going to be a great equalizer. And they will give us the course in advance, and they will let us run the course in advance. So like maybe in like the month leading up, maybe I do like a week of training on that course and just really dial in what I need to dial in, because it is going to be hilly. So it'll all kind of depend on that and depend on how well my fitness is. But I would want to make it more of an honest race.
Favorite marathon you've ever done?
Ooh, I'd probably say I really enjoyed Mexico City.
Really?
It was at a high altitude.
Yeah.
But I didn't have to run it that hard, so it was just fun because it's cool to go by like certain landmarks. Like we started in the Olympic Stadium. And then worked our way into town, and it was just so much different than any other marathon that I've run.
How did you place there? How did that go?
I think I was like in the top 15.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of cool.
But you don't realize like Mexico City is a huge city.
It is, yeah.
And you go through all these pockets, and there was like a ton of people out, and I kind of wasn't. I thought there would be a little quieter because it was a point-to-point race. So we started at one point and then ended in like Old Town. So it was cool to like go through each section of town, and just the amount of people that are there are just incredible.
Is there any marathon you ran and like, boy, that course, oh man, I don't know if I want to do that one again?
Probably Rochester.
Really?
But they discontinued it. But that was just because it was warm out that day.
All right.
But it was a really hard course. I think Craig Connor designed it. He's like one of my buddies here.
Okay.
But yeah, it was a very difficult course, and it was like hot. It was in September. We actually come by over by the studio here. We go over the bridge and then end on this by High Falls. So it was a nice course. It was just really hard, and the conditions were brutal.
Yeah, September can get hot here. Joey Whalen, our guest here, as the U.S. Olympic trials coming up in 2027, and this has been just kind of a lot of fun here, bud. So having you in studio here today, and I'm thinking I might make a road trip to St. Louis. Like that would be a lot of fun. Just at minimum, that's on TV. That's something that's on it'll be on Peacock, as it was kind of 2 years ago. Do you allow like you hear Josh Allen talk about how he visualizes how it will be when the parade happens. And it's a cold day, and he describes it. I don't want to do an injustice there. What that would be like, a cold afternoon in Buffalo, the streets lined. Do you do any training like that? What it would be like for you? What that would be like to reach your goal?
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of visualizing, and it's what gets you out of the door a lot of the days, because not every day is easy. So some days you're just on an easy run, and you're like, this is what I'm doing it for, and it's like just keeping those goals.
And I kind of misspoke. I said you had your own podcast. You're on a lot of podcasts, but you have your own YouTube page. So what is this, how did this kind of come about, like you giving advice and being part of, the running community that, hey, you have a microphone and you have an internet connection, you can do your own thing there. What's that been like?
It's been great. My YouTube is Joey Whalen. You could just search that and find me. But I like documenting the races and storytelling, and it gives you an opportunity to be creative. I feel like when you become an adult, you become less creative. So it's been kind of fun to just learn something new, like another hobby, because like you learn to edit and how to do everything. But it's good to showcase what I'm doing, what goes into a race, because I document specifically. I've been doing like races. So like each race I go to for the past few marathons, I show like I just document
Yeah.
what goes into it, and I think I'll look back in a few years, and it'll be cool to look back and see, oh, this is what I did.
Well, yeah, you're bringing us to parts of the world, like hearing about Mexico City or Spain or wherever the world,
So I wish I would have done that when I did Mexico City, because that would have been very cool, because it was so foreign to me, of everything, and just you don't realize how it's not that much work to do it.
No.
So it's just holding a camera. It's a little uncomfortable at first, but then you're like, all right, I'd rather have it than not have it.
Yeah. Well, Beijing, the part of the world I don't think I'll ever make it to, but if you made it, you can bring us along for the ride there, Joe. To tell everybody about just look up Joey Whalen on YouTube. That's
Yes.
So that would be it. Well, let's check in with you, next year, see how things are going, and I'm sure I'll see. And the Monica's a great friend of the show here too. Joey, great. Thank you for taking the time out to come into the studio today. This was a lot of fun, bud.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, Joey Whalen, who is a U.S. Olympic hopeful in the marathon, and the trials are going to be here before you know it here. Less than, basically a year and a half in St. Louis. Joey, thanks again.
Go Bills.
We will have Tim's terrible take of the day. That'll be coming up. We have time for your calls at 585-866-4326. My name is Gene Battaglia. This is WGR Rochester.
Sports talk in the Flower City. The Sports Bar with Gene Battaglia on the Sports Leader. 95.7 FM and AM 950 WGR. Rochester.
Yeah, we're going to talk local sports. Rochester sports here on this show. And if you have a show idea, by all means, always reach out to me. I'm very accessible on social media. You can give us a call, 585-866-4326. That is our phone number. Do give us a call if you'd like to jump in. Thanks to Joey Whalen, who kind of stopped by. Our top story locally, I got thoughts on this, and I know Tim has thoughts on this too. Where Patrick Kane going back to Chicago. I don't think it's a diss on the Buffalo Sabres. I've got more thoughts, but let me just kind of hand off the baton to my buddy here.
It's now time for Terrible Time Timmy's Terrible Take of the Day on WGR Rochester. WGR Rochester. It's Terrible Time Timmy.
I would like to first preface this is not because he, quote unquote, spurned the Buffalo Sabres. My thought was this way the entire time. This was at best nostalgic and at worst a form of nepotism because he's a 38-year-old, which is my age, professional hockey player, a great one, perhaps the best American of all time. But at this point in his career, he's just a local guy trying to wind down his career. And for the money he just commanded, Jarmo Kekalainen is not going to play that. They could have kept another local guy for just about the same amount of money in Alex Tuck. And that was also a good move that Jarmo made. Let these other teams make mistakes. Jarmo is not messing around. Jarmo knows what he's doing. He's got a great young core. He's already turned Bo Byram, who is a young player in his own right, but a young player into great young assets. He's got a young core to build upon. He's got great players already in the top six. Pat Kane at this point in his career was a nothing burger to the Buffalo Sabres. The 2 weeks or 3 weeks of rumors and innuendo and drama of him perhaps coming to Buffalo, all it did was make the fan base angry when they find out that he signed with the Blackhawks today. But it's a good thing that Pat Kane is not signing with the Buffalo Sabres.
Well, I don't think nepotism is the right word. Just but like the bias that he's one of us.
I did say form of.
Yeah. The point, taking the point that, hey, just because you're from here, you're going to come back here. I think it was pretty evident. Do you want to be here or not? What is it you'd like to accomplish? And I'm not going to fault any athlete, Tim, for, what I want to accomplish? Making sure I and my family's taken care of, period, end of story. Like, that's it. Who else was going to offer Patrick Kane at his advanced age a total of $16 million? That was as soon as probably the Blackhawks up the ante just a little bit. Okay, done deal.
Welcome back. Goodbye.
Welcome back. I think the story here is, can two of the three pop for the Sabres this year? By the three, I mean Oslin, Helenius, Kulik. Now, Yuri Kulik, somebody who was dealing with some clotting issues, missed last season. He'll be back this season. But talking with various Sabres insiders, and we talked to Joe DiBiase on Tuesday, the consensus is that Yuri Kulik could come out, have a great camp. You haven't played professional hockey here in a little bit. It would be the benefit if you're doing a numbers crunch thing. He still has an option here. You could send him to the Amherst. I'm expecting Yuri Kulik for that reason to open up in Rochester. Now, the question is, will one of these three not live up to the expectation? And I'm going to say, that's possible. That we always, whether it's the Bills, whatever your favorite team is, you're always projecting the best case scenario for these athletes. There's injuries, there's setbacks, some things we may not know, right? But if we have two of the three guys land into that then we might have an issue. Because the Sabres right now, on paper, are not as good as they were at the end of last season. We can agree on that. It's good that they locked up Benson, and it's good they were prudent and didn't hamstring themselves with Tuck, or maybe we're looking at like some Jeff Skinner situation years down the road. again, I think things are going to work out for this reason. That the Sabres in October, November, and mid-December, where last year they sucked. They were terrible. They're not going to be terrible, okay? They will be, I don't know, whatever you want to say. Hard for me to say. But I'm going to say they're not going to be the worst team in the Eastern Conference like they were last year. They'll be better. And by doing so, you're going to get to the point in March for the trade deadline. Okay, what is it we need? And those players, it's more cost efficient to go shopping at that point in the NHL. It always has been. And Jarmo Kekalainen showed something last year where, hey, we need more muscle on the blue line. Let's go get Stanley and Shen. Done. Hey, wouldn't it be great to have a guy like a fourth-line center that can go bang some people around? He was great until he got hurt in Carrick, and I'm looking forward to seeing Carrick again. So those weren't like the big headline sort of, moves that, here's the big guy that we're trading for the trade deadline, but that helped the Sabres along. And if they need a forward, all right, I want to imagine there might be somebody available. Tim, thank you. And it's one of those, I don't think anybody's all kind of upset. If it was going to happen, I thought it would have happened like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, when it first came out as a rumor, what are we waiting for so long for?
Because he wanted more money. Period.
Then let him have it somewhere else.
Someone else. Yeah, that's why like all the stuff about Buffalo. Now, it's a different situation with Connor Hellebuck. With Connor Hellebuck, I think it's a Winnipeg GM. That's kind of what's happening here. And once somebody kind of gets a little antsy, I don't think Jarmo is going to be the one that's going to be like, all right, yeah, I know you really, all right, yeah, we'll throw in Kalik. There you go. That's something I think drags out to September. Could be wrong on that.
I think it might go longer because Buffalo doesn't have to panic. If UPL or Alex Lyon takes the reins and just goes on and run with it.
You're looking at that from a Buffalo standpoint. Winnipeg is not going to bring him back. Winnipeg is not promoting him in any social media, anything. I'm talking just from the Winnipeg standpoint. We're all assuming it's going to happen to Buffalo. I'm saying he could end up in San Jose. He could end up in Philadelphia. He could end up in a dozen places. And are you ready for that if you miss out on Connor Hellebuck? That's the one that people are going to be upset with him. That's the one, the expectation, all right, here we go. And I would just caution people and say, that's not the analogy here. The goalie isn't to hockey as the quarterback is to football, right? Carolina won with some schlubby in Game 4 last year, relatively speaking. But, hey, you could just get guys. And if you look at the stats, actually, for UPL and Alex Lyon in the regular season, they're pretty damn good. It's the lasting impression. It wasn't a good lasting impression. We're like, okay, you're yanking UPL, and then you're yanking Lyon in Game 6. It's like, okay, where do we go from here? And you could be upset that the Sabres lost in Game 7 to Montreal. They weren't going to get by Carolina last year. I don't think that was happening. 585-866-4326. Nathan Glazer is hanging out in the studio. He moved across. We're moving you around here, bud, today. So he's interning for the Red Wings. Red Wings losing to Max Scherzer. I kind of admire Max Scherzer from this standpoint. You know, like, over the years where he's doing a rehab stint in Binghamton for a few years, then he's doing them, another one in Buffalo. The guy is just a grinder, and he wants to get back here to postseason baseball. At what point do we say the Blue Jays are in trouble? I'm saying that right now. The Blue Jays are in trouble. I thought the Blue Jays would have turned the corner by now, but there they were losing the game to the Rays last night. And the Rays are one of these, I'm not buying in. Yes, I know they have the best record in the American League. I'm sorry. I'm not buying that pitching staff. The Jays are 46-56. They are 10 games below 500. When we say who's the most disappointing team in baseball, okay, it's the Mets, but why aren't we talking about the Jays? Like, that was a team that literally was inches away from a world championship, and you would think they'd be hungry and ready to go. And, well, it starts with the big man at first base. I don't know what happened to Vlad Guerrero this year. Like, if it's not for our guy, Ernie Clement, this team would they'd be in Metland right now.
They'd be behind the Angels as the worst team in the AL without Ernie Clement and
Yeah, so this has kind of fooled me. I thought, okay, don't worry about the Jays. They're going to figure it out. They'll go on a tear. They'll get Dylan Cease back. All right, not true. Now they've dropped 4 in a row. 3 o'clock today will be, 3 o'clock hour, the first pitch for the Jays and the Rays. 585-866-4326 is our phone number. We've got more to get to. I've got some football notes here for you, including one name we can just kind of cross off the list if you're looking at guys that maybe you would consider coming into Buffalo. I was never into this idea, but no, we can kind of put this to rest. We also have a Bills note here as they just put something out here, and this is not surprising. You should just do it right now and get it over with, my opinion. 585-866-4326. Gene Battaglia here, WGR Rochester.
ROCAM, WBEE HD2, and W239BF Rochester. The sports leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950 WGR Rochester. An Odyssey sports station, WGR Rochester. Sports update.
Patrick Kane will not be coming to the Sabres. He goes back to Chicago. 2 years, a total of $16 million. Rob Ray today on Sabres Live weighing in on Connor Hellebuck.
I think it would be absolutely fantastic if you got a guy like that, but I'm kind of really worried about what you'd have to give up to get him. And another situation where you'd be talking about are young kids now that are maybe making that step. If you're going to move away from one or two of those guys to make this deal, at the end game, does it pay off? And you're going to take that risk? Does it set you back?
On the Major League scoreboard, Braves leaving the Padres 5-3. They're in the bottom of the sixth. No score in Cleveland between the Guardians and the Twins. Coming up at 3 o'clock, the Jays taking on the Rays. Yankees open a series tomorrow night in Philadelphia. Rochester Red Wings continuing their series in Buffalo tonight. Gene Battaglin, the sports leader, 95.7 FM, AM 950, WGR Rochester.
Stay for a while, you're in the sports bar on WGR. Grab a drink, hang your coke, get sports talk. Live from Western New York. It's a master show. 9 times better than your typical host. 9 times. Gene and Tim have takes much harder than most. No one cares when you're out. Sabres! Bills, Americans, Red Wings, and Nighthawks. Sports bar. For Rochester Sports Talk.
Hour number 2 from the High Fall Studios in downtown Rochester. Gene Battaglia with you, where, yes, we talked to local sports. We talked to Joey Whalen, who is a U.S. Olympic hopeful, and we're all going to be watching, right? Those Olympic trials coming up 2028 that will be in St. Louis. Advantage Whalen on that, by the way. Like that's a big deal if we can kind of get a gray little windy day there. You got to admire a guy like that. He could have gone to train in Colorado or Flagstaff, and little did I know this. The altitude in Flagstaff is higher than parts of Colorado.
Very surprised by that.
Yeah,
Geography.
Geography.
Topography, maybe.
I knew about Mexico City. Like you're basically on the surface of the sun. That's higher than Mile High Stadium. Whenever you hear about this, whenever you have a sporting event down in Mexico City. But it was really kind of cool to hear Joey and his story. And it's one of those, okay, that's cool. We're with him. File it away. And I love talking. Last year we had Haley Wynn on the show, who before she became an Olympian, she was drafted by the Boston Fleet. And that was right after that happened, and there was Haley winning a gold for the United States. So a lot of Rochester connections, and that's what we've tried to do here on our show, here on WGR Rochester, which all I can say at this point, Tim, is there are things in the works for our station.
Again.
This is it, yes. So this is all I can say. Like, righting some wrongs, and we'll just stay tuned this football season. We're not going anywhere. I'm not. What's that scene?
We can't say it, but it's Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah, Leonardo DiCaprio. Yeah, I can't play that. It's I can.
Not leaving.
I'm not leaving. Not leaving. 585-866-4326. We mentioned some football things, and we should start with the Bills because that's what you care about. They're not making any secret of this. Like just unveil the damn uniforms now. Like they have been leaked online, reported by Chris Creamer. This was 2 weeks ago, and sometimes these things are secrets. Like you would think, like the New York City market, you would have some reporter like, oh, the Jets are going to unveil a white helmet. And I didn't know about that. Nobody knew about that until there it was. And truth be told, I think it looks good, actually. Well, this was, somewhere around the 4th where Creamer puts this out, that here's what the new Bills alternate uniform will be. Nickel jersey pants. Nickel jersey. By nickel, I'm talking gray. Like, because the color, nickel can also be a color. And the helmets are royal blue, and the Bills logo, it's like if you went to the zoom feature on your computer and you just zoomed in on the horn with the little bit of the racing stripe. That's what it's going to look like. Okay. It doesn't excite me. I'm going to reserve judgment on that. But That's what it is. And the Bills today just put out the random cryptic, here is a twirling nickel. Okay, then you know what? We got to do that. Monday, they're going to do the unveiling. And then Tuesday will be report day. Wednesday will be the first practice. By this time next week, we will have 2 practices in the books for the Buffalo Bills at St. John Fisher University. And to think that we're only going to have like them here for 1 weekend. Like, hopefully, if you got tickets Saturday, August 1st or the 2nd, okay, those will be good practices to kind of go to. Then they're here for 3 practices after that, and then gonzo, which time moves quickly here. The blue and the red scrimmage will be on Saturday, August 8th this year for PSL holders. 585-866-4326. Another Bills know, and these are kind of the cool local connections. So it was, in Sports Bar 1.0, getting ready for, the Bills in the Broncos game. And, boy, I just thinking, you know what? There are so many injury questions we have with the Buffalo Bills, Josh Allen being one of them. You had Ty Johnson, who wasn't able to go. Lots of injury questions. We need an injury expert. And we found him. Charlie Schumann is his name. He works for Lattimore PT, and he's going to be good enough for his time. Charlie Schumann played for head coach Molinich at Pittsburgh, gets onto the Penn State team. He's a Penn State Nittany Lion. Senior year appeared in 2 games, right? Shame on me. Ever made the connection that Charlie Schumann may know some people here that you're familiar with. We'll say tentatively next week here. We'd love to get your thoughts on opening day of training camp for the Bills.
Absolutely. We'll make it work. My college roommate was Connor McGovern, so I'm excited to get out there and see a practice this year after.
How did I not know this? How did I not know this? Oh, you're definitely going to have to be out there then, I would think so.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, so have you been involved in his pizza parties then? You know all about that?
I was at the pizza party last year that was on Hard Knocks. He was nice enough to invite me out. He makes a mean pizza and some. He had some cookies there last year that were pretty fantastic.
I can only imagine. Well, you guys are both A-plus guys there. So, Charlie, thank you again for the time today, and we'll pencil you in for next week.
Sounds like a plan, man. Have a great day.
Yeah, Charlie, by the way, pencil him in because his wife is expecting so much so to the point where yesterday was, okay, text me about an hour before, okay, she's not in labor, good. So, Charlie and Tim, you don't know about this. When you are on baby watch, that is the one time of year everyone checks in on you.
What'd you have to throw that in for?
Someday you'll be a dad, I'm sure.
Maybe.
So, I'm just saying.
Chances are low at this point, but
you know what?
But yeah, you're right. I don't know about that.
Look, if Joey Whalen can pick up marathoning at the age of 20, run his first marathon at the age of 26, you want to, and then decide, yeah, you know what, I'm going to make a run at this, and then he's in the U.S. Olympic trials.
If Joey Whalen can pick up running, Tim Schneider can pick up dadding.
That would be like, can you imagine Tim as the dad? Oh,
no scared.
That would be a. I don't know why I went there. I don't. I just the visual, like Tim, come on, son, let's have a cat.
I'd be a great dad. I just don't know if I desire to be a dad.
Oh, gosh. Tyreek Hill today on YouTube. And maybe this is a question for Charlie Schumann, but then I say the name Tyreek Hill, and we're all kind of like, He's not a good guy. Can we just acknowledge that? Like the NFL, where I said, hey, look, Connor McGovern, we've had him on the show. By all accounts, a good guy. Tyreek Hill, by all accounts, not a good guy, right? But he's in the league because he offered a skill set and could run really fast and score touchdowns. And in Kansas City, helped them win games. And in Miami, it's crazy to think, right, for anybody that wants to dump on former head coach Mike McDonald and also, Tua, that you just go back 3 years. Tua was the leading passer in the league. Tyreek Hill was the leading receiver in the league. And what did that earn the Dolphins? It got them a playoff spot and got bounced as the number 7 seed, right? So that was as good as it got in Miami with that offense. And, Tyreek Hill now 32 years old. Tyreek Hill, it's a primetime game against the Jets. His knee gets absolutely destroyed. We're talking like the worst possible knee injury, right? And was anybody expecting anything from him whatsoever this year? He's out there. Any team can sign him. You know why the teams are signing? Because they kind of know. But here's the thing. We all want our athletes to be honest. We all want our athletes to kind of tell us what's really going on. Coaches, athletes, and they're just so gosh darn guarded. Because everybody has an agenda, and you don't want to hear it if you're leaking out too much information. To me, football players are the worst interviews because they don't give you anything. It's hard to get them to kind of open up because this is the culture you're in. Anything could be perceived as a disadvantage or a slight. That's why this is different, what Tyreek Hill did. Number one, Tyreek Hill isn't without a team, so he doesn't care. But if I'm his agent right now, I am like, what the hell? I'm trying to earn a commission off you, dude. Can we get you another contract? Because what Hill did today is not helping. It's absolutely true that his recovery is going along. But this was Hill on YouTube today, and I'll just read you the quote. My left leg is the one that I injured. I have no power in my left leg. Okay. When have you ever heard an athlete just kind of say, yeah, this is not happening for me? And look, the year that OBJ tried to get out, I think it was pretty obvious, but he didn't come out and say it. This is Tyreek Hill telling the NFL, telling the fans, no, it's not happening for me this year. I have no power in my left leg. Yeah, because your left leg got beat up. But you don't need to say that now. The thing about rehab is, yeah, today when you're putting this on YouTube, it may feel like you're done. But that's the rehab process, everybody would kind of tell you, that it's a grind. There are doubts. You can't be putting this out there. I never once entertained Tyreek Hill as a Buffalo Bill, where, sure, in theory, a deep threat for Buffalo could kind of complement, but we're not talking Tyreek Hill in the 13-second game. We're talking about a 32-year-old Tyreek Hill that is coming off a major, major injury. So, let's no thank you. No thank you. We'll kind of move on from that.
The other quote in that, the post quote was more telling to me than anything else. He said, I'm not going anywhere, or I'm not telling you what my timeline is, but the timeline's looking good right now. What does that mean? It doesn't make sense. You're a liar.
No, he's clueless.
Hopeful, perhaps?
What is my timeline is good? What for
I'm not telling you what it is, but it's good. I don't believe it.
Tim, of course you don't believe it. That's why I didn't even consider that quote. I have no power in my left leg. Okay,
that's the quote.
Then I'm like, okay, then you're not going to get signed. Like, at least fake it. Gosh, you could go somewhere, collect the money, and then they cut you. Do you not know how this works? And then if he goes, say, Washington, and it doesn't work out, you mean to tell me that would be the last stop? It wasn't the last stop for OBJ. OBJ, will he have anything left this year? Maybe. Maybe there's a renaissance because, you know what? Maybe he's healthy for the first time in a couple years, 3 years, whatever it is. I have no desire to see Tyreek Hill on the field in Buffalo or anywhere. I thought for sure this would be Kansas City bringing him back on the cheap. Nope. Not after I heard that quote today. 585-866-4326. Other NFL news today. Oh, we had it's uniform unveiling season. It's also new stadium pictures and new stadium artist renderings. We had that earlier in the week from the Kansas City Chiefs, and here's their new $3 billion dome, which looks like the dome they want to build in Cleveland, or they are building, which looks like the translucent roof in Jacksonville, which looks like what they're going to do in Washington. Everything's going to look the damn same, except for Buffalo. So take pride in that, Buffalo. Outdoor football, yeah. Charlotte is not going to go in that direction. The Panthers had already agreed to an extension, with the folks in North Carolina and Charlotte. So 2045 now will be the year when things kind of expire. So 19 years from now. But as part of that, hey, you, the taxpayer down there, are going to have to pour a lot of money into this. And I'm looking at this and like, well, this doesn't look any different than the stadium that they have right now. Like, Carolina is one of those few stadiums that really does not have an overhang. But it's North Carolina. It's not egregious. I imagine we'll get a little hot maybe in September. But the two things I noticed from these renderings, one, it's like they're building out the footprint. You could see, like, okay, they're making maybe more kind of around the stadium here. The concourses might be a little bit bigger. Try to improve the quote-unquote fan experience. They're also adding in a bunch of luxury suites. So it's one thing to sell you a ticket, a season ticket, but you know what? We'd rather sell it to Bank of America or whoever's headquartered down there and make sure we're getting more of those premium seats. So seems like they're adding like a little top ring around the stadium. To me, I'm not in favor of teams moving, but I'm kind of done with the new stadium kind of thing. Who really needs a new stadium in the NFL? Now that Buffalo has one and you have everything else kind of on the docket, I mean, does Chicago really need one? No, but that's the game. They can make more money out of this. There's only one situation right now in the NFL once Chicago gets figured out. And trust me, eventually it will. Even if they have to go, schlepping out to Indiana. And I will laugh and laugh and laugh. Like, how do alienate a fan base? Like, let's move to a different state. I mean, go see what it did to the 49ers. Yeah, Santa Clara, not exactly San Francisco. It's just not. It's a hike. And it's taken away a little bit from the fan base. I'd be very careful if I'm the Bears, and that's why they're trying to use Indiana as leverage. Eventually we'll have to get a deal done in Chicago. Tim, I'll put you on the spot. What team do you think is the one I would keep an eye on right now in the NFL that would be the next one up? Like, okay, something's going on here. Nothing, for the record, when I tell you this team, there isn't anything that's suggesting relocation or anything like that. But when I tell you some details here, I'm like, oh, okay, I could see this happening. See, like a lot of these teams right now.
Everybody seems to be in good shape right now.
Yeah, New Orleans has a long-term lease, and the Benson family, whether it's the Pelicans or the Saints, they don't have any appetite for moving. Seattle, not that they were going to go anywhere, but they just got sold for $9 billion. The answer is a team whose lease expires in January 2028.
I did see this.
Okay, this is a team we don't think about ever coming up in terms of relocation. It's actually a team whose owner is originally from Rochester.
Indeed.
That would be the late Malcolm Glazer, now the Glazer family. You say Glazers overseas, when it comes to soccer, they hate them, right? Like, how dare you, come over here. But the Glazers should know how they made their money, right? I know Malcolm Glazer went to Monroe High School, right? But credit him, and I don't think they have really any ties to the Rochester community. Somebody, look, if they have anything left here in town, please let me know. But the Buccaneers,
the banker, I believe.
Was it?
Google says yes, confirmed.
Banker.
Real estate holding company.
Okay, real estate. That's where the money is, Tim. Real estate. The Buccaneers, January 2028, and Raymond James Stadium. That was built 99, 2000. Are we reaching the end of life? To me, that's a silly conversation. But for you, the fan, and this is the one thing I have heard from people, and this is going back to Bills. This is back mid-2000s, somewhere around their drought era, where the Bills had an early season game in September in Tampa, and people that went down there for that game were just miserable. A 1 o'clock or even a 4 o'clock Tampa game, baking in the sunshine there. No, thank you. No, thank you. It's kind of, Jacksonville, it doesn't, get the heat as much as Tampa, but even they recognize, you know what, we kind of need a roof here. So where are we going with the Buccaneers? And there's all talk of, hey, they're going to get their money at some point to redo that stadium. The thing is, I don't know in this day and age that we went through the whole Bills exercise, right, of, okay, what do we do with the stadium? And if you go back to that time when Kim Pegula told the Buffalo News, hey, we just don't have $1 billion lying around. And when I heard that quote, I'm like, uh-oh, that is just opening up the door for the team, the leverage city. And we have this in Chicago, but it's not a different city. I guess it's the same sort of market. But for here, it'd be like moving the team, to Geneseo or somewhere out for the Bills. We never, ever had that market that said, here's what we're going to do for Buffalo, and for the Bills, I should say. and we want to acquire. We had a false report that it was Austin, Texas. There was nothing to it. I don't know how that report kind of came about. We never had that part of the story. We never even had Toronto. You know why that is? Because not a lot of municipalities can just say, yeah, this is what we're going to do. We're going to build them and they will come. The build them and they will come, yeah, those days are kind of done. Like for baseball right now, as soon as they get past this labor agreement, then the sweepstakes for who will get the expansion franchises you watch, because that's the chip the owners are holding back. That, okay, we'll create more jobs by having 2 more teams, and we'll get the expansion fee, and everybody will win. Well, yeah, the idea that we're building the stadium in advance, like the Tampa Bay Rays built the dome, and eventually the Rays came like a decade later, right? Maybe even longer than that. Where's that happening now? The build them, they will come. That doesn't happen anymore. They tried this in Quebec with a beautiful state-of-the-art hockey arena. It hasn't happened. Waste of money. Like, you can't do that. Where is the baseball stadium in Nashville, Portland, Charlotte, all these places right now? Nothing is major league ready. Not even close. Now, Charlotte has a AAA ballpark that is picturesque, but it's still a AAA ballpark. That's it. What's the point? All these other places. That's part of the equation here. Like, okay, we're going to announce these expansion franchises. None of these places have places. And I think where the world is at right now, that helped save the Buffalo Bills, keep them in Buffalo here. Also, you, the PSL owner there, that you're very proud that you were able to sell out on that.
We did it right down the road 20 years ago with the soccer stadium to some extent.
That's a good point. What happened?
Well, it's a high school football field now, I think. I don't even know.
You know, what a waste of money that was when you look back at it. Sure, like there was Abby Wambach and the U.S. national team on Labor Day weekend, and it was sold out. There's been moments that have been really nice for that stadium, but the city of Rochester has yet to really put forth anything. And you can't even make it in the USL with that stadium here in Rochester now. Somebody would have stepped up and said, yeah, you know, the league that the Rhinos were in, the picks were run, you know, the Rhinos went away. And I thought, okay, you know what? There's a lot of people that want to take another run at this. Nope. Not even close. It's just a money pit. So I don't know if people looked at the situation here in Rochester. It's a good call there, Tim. Yeah, that was built on the premise that eventually we would have an MLS team. And the irony here is, let's say that happened, we would
no longer have it.
that would have been gone 10 years ago, because the MLS would have been like, hey, we actually need to go spend money here and build another stadium. 585-866-4326. More football notes, your calls, your takes. We all have all that coming up. My name is Gene Battaglia. This is WGR Rochester.
So much action, we couldn't fit it all. WGR Rochester Sports Update.
Sabres will not be getting Patrick Kane, the Buffalo native, signing back with Chicago. 2 years, $8 million per year, $16 million overall. Rob Ray weighing in today on Sabres Live.
Would have been nice, yeah. Would have been nice for the power play. Would have been nice to have maybe that stature of a person walking in the dressing room too. But I think in the big picture, it comes down to the money side. It's a lot of dough for a man that at that point, maybe injury-wise, you don't know what you're going to get out of him speed-wise. It's a gamble, but it's still, I think, whether he plays a lot or not, I still think he can bring an awful lot to a young group.
Red Wings tonight playing again in Buffalo. Major League scoreboard, just 2 games. The Braves leading the Padres 6-5. They're in the 8th, top of 6. Guardians leading the Twins 1-0. Coming up a little after 3, the Jays taking on the Rays. Yankees open a series tomorrow night in Philadelphia. Gene Battaglin, the sports leader, 95.7 FM, AM 950, WGR Rochester.
The best local sports talk in the Flower City. The Sports Bar with Gene Battaglia on the Sports Leader. 95.7 FM and AM 950 WGR. Rochester.
Who was the last rookie not to be signed in time by the time training camp opened for the Buffalo Bills? First round. A little bit. It's such a tough trivia question. I would never ask this in one of the, because, well, you have to think back. 2011 would have been when the new CBA came about. That's kind of the hinder. I'm only bringing this up today because this used to be a really big story, and now it's just more of a, okay, yeah. Fernando Mendoza signed his contract with the Raiders. Okay, that's not a story. Like, it's a story only if it doesn't happen. And there might be somebody, whether it comes to language or the timing of a bonus payment or wherever they want to squabble about. But there's nothing really to negotiate. With the pay structure and with the CBA, this is the offer, and sign here, please. The answer to the trivia question, by the way, was C.J. Spiller. C.J. Spiller, 2010. It wasn't until early August that he came into camp. And when I remember about C.J. Spiller, I remember being out the night that he got drafted. And we were doing the live show. And this was really in the infancy of our station. And I remember doing the show with Mike Catalana. And I could mention the place because unfortunately it's no longer there. It was Champs. And this was before really Twitter took off and tipping picks. It was really, you had to wait until it was announced on TV, and to be in a group setting and just to hear the disgust from the crowd, like, oh my gosh, we don't need a running back. We just took a running back. This is a team that has Marshawn Lynch and Fred Jackson. What do we need another running back for? And they did, and look, C.J. Spiller, it wasn't like he was this guy that turned the league upside down. Taking a running back in the top 10, not good business, certainly. And then, yeah, you could go through the exercise. Okay, who did the Bills pass on? Oh, yeah, there were a lot of good names, certainly. There wasn't a quarterback that, you'd be excited about. Your guy went later that year. Were you here with us at that point in 2010? When did you come about?
I came on at the end of 2011. So
okay,
no.
so you weren't around, but I remember it was one of our, I was here and I'm like, we should do more broadcasts. We were like at the time ESPN. Let's go out and do a draft show. And Catalano was great with his time, and I have the audio of that somewhere, and it was just kind of stunning. And this is where, and the story I heard after the fact, whether it's true or not, I think there's some degree of truth. Like, Ralph Wilson was still involved. Ralph Wilson was still saying, hey, yeah, running back, that makes good business sense. It made no sense at all for the Bills to draft C.J. Spiller. Only bringing that story up today because, well, Fernando Mendoza getting signed. Now, that's a story, the rookie first-round pick holding out. Okay, we can kind of put that to rest. That's very rare when that kind of happens. This is a story that you hope doesn't happen in Buffalo. Happened in Carolina today, where Nick Scarton, who was a second-round pick last year, he's a linebacker, carted off, right knee injury, and the cart and the MRI, and then just no good things for Dave Canales to kind of say. And the thing is, if it's a serious knee injury, that's when, if nobody's giving the indication that they're hopeful, that, okay, let's hope for the best when the MRI comes up about, like, let's say in theory, if there's an ACL tear, Tim, you know when it's an ACL tear.
Yeah,
You
if you've done it before, you know that it's bad.
There was one time, this was the last year the Bills trained at Fredonia, and it's days of two-a-days, and there's only a handful of reporters in practice, and I'm sitting on the sideline, and I'm watching the ball, and it sounds like a tree just fell. When you hear an ACL snap, it's disgusting. It really is. And then you heard Bills players who are running the rep go, oh. And then you realize, what just happened? I have no idea what happened. And then you look, and it's the rookie running back, Sean Bryson, a third-round pick, who is down on the ground. And then everybody kind of clears after the play. I'm like, oh, my gosh. That's what a torn ACL sounds like? So sometimes you just don't know, and you got to go for imaging, and what is that? Other times you know right away. So, again, kind of knock on wood. You just want everything to kind of go fine for the Buffalo Bills for training camp, which opens up coming up on next Wednesday. Next Monday is when we get the uniform unveiling. What's interesting to me is there just doesn't seem to be a lot of excitement. Maybe I'm wrong on this. Maybe it's the fact that we've seen these pictures, but when we had the Nike alternate uniform last year, the Rivalries uniform they called it. They couldn't call it City Connect. That was baseball. Rivalries uniform. And okay, that's nice, like the all white for the Buffalo Bills, and kind of like the iced out logo. Doing that the first weekend in October, I don't know, against the Patriots, I would have saved it for later, but hey, that's fine. I think people were like, okay, that's cool. I'll buy one of those jerseys. Correct me if I'm wrong. I haven't heard anybody get excited about a new alternate jersey. And maybe it's just because the color gray is drab. Like, being in all gray is not that exciting, I don't think. And then maybe I'm wrong on this, but I just don't get the sense that people are excited to go out and buy this new jersey.
It's like the fourth most important thing on Bills fans' lists right now, though. They want to see the stadium. They want the team to come back and start training camp. For some reason, I'm not even making a joke, they want to see Josh Allen's kid. They don't care about these jerseys because they don't it's not top of mind to them. And they've already seen them for the last 5 months. This is not an unveiling on Monday. This is a confirmation of something that's been out there for a while.
Let me work in reverse. I don't need to see Josh Allen's kid. I respect the fact that Josh
I'm
Allen,
with you there, but
I respect the fact that Josh Allen, hey, like when he came back from his wedding, and look, you're a reporter, hey, and he just looked back and just football. I'm drawing the line here, guys. Football. And that's totally fine. I totally respect that. Josh Allen is the one quarterback that has nothing really surrounding him. What about Patrick Mahomes? Have you seen Mahomes' dad? Again, that's not him, but for Josh Allen, everything seems to be in order. I don't want to go down that road for paparazzi or whatever, and I respect that. Okay, push that aside. The stadium is certainly for sure. The stadium and the access to the stadium, and can people get in to the stadium? The August 18th, I don't know, Tim. We get to a point where will there be stadium tours if somebody actually wants to go out there and hey, I would think so. They do this for other places. We talked about this, how they do this in Cowboy Stadium, and they have not one but two tours. There's the one tour where okay, hey, we're going to and here's the press box, everybody nods their head, and here's the visiting locker room, and that's where the players go in for their locker room. Oh, no. You get the VIP tour in Dallas Stadium, where the VIP tour, you walk in to the Cowboy boardroom. Oh, you don't know about this?
No, it sounds like a yacht, though.
Oh, okay. So the Cowboy boardroom, and sitting in today, Nathan Glazer today, Rochester Red Wing intern, go into a boardroom, and we learned about this from Ken Belson, who wrote a book, about NFL owners, and I highly recommend it, right? if I remember the title of it. We had Ken to promote it, but I read the book, and this is the part I found hilarious because the publisher will send bullet points. Okay, this wasn't in the bullet point. One of the bullet points where I'm reading this story about Over the Top in Dallas, and here's the part. Okay, you're gonna pay whatever it is, the $300 for the VIP tour in Texas. This better be good. Okay, we're going into the boardroom. And now picture a boardroom, right? Wood panels, everybody plush seating. Okay. There's booze on the table right in the middle, I suppose, like if you want to drink. I don't know if that's the fact, if they had that or not, but I'm just trying to create a visual, right? And then also on the table, you sit down, you get around this, for this VIP, and it's not a lot of people. All of a sudden, emerging out of the table, it's this hologram of Jerry Jones.
That's wild.
Welcoming you to Texas Stadium, the AT&T Park, and then you can ask hologram Jerry any question. So Ken Belson, the author, is in there, and he's a journalist, right? He's not going to ask cream puff questions like, "Hey Jerry, what's it like to own the Cowboys?" And then AI Jerry will give you the answer, right? Ken Belson wants to ask him, what is your relationship like with Roger Goodell? Somehow Roger Goodell didn't get there. When the AI version of Jerry Jones, what's your version like of Roger Goodell? Roger Staubach is one of the greatest Cowboys of all time. No, we're not talking about Roger Staubach. We're talking about Roger Goodell. Well, Roger Staubach. All right. Great. And then they let you into Jerry's private box, too. Imagine that. So I don't think we'll have any. You imagine an AI Terry Pagula, welcome to, but I don't like Keon Coleman. Something like that. No, can there be some sort of, hey, here's for $50, we're gonna give you a tour of the stadium, and a portion of the proceeds will go to Golisano Children's Hospital. Would anybody not want to do that? That seems kind of fair. $50 might be a little high on that, but that's
not at first. People want to see it now.
That's a selling point, though. That's where the new uniforms right now. No, I want to take the tour. And for the record, it wasn't like we were passed over here. Our station was invited. Thing was, we're on the air at that time, so it was one of those. All right, and there's a lot going on in terms of the Sabres and the NHL draft and everything else. So I figured, you know what, I'll get out there soon enough. I don't need the tour of, okay, where is everything? And for fans, for that matter, too, sooner or later you'll get it. The idea that you're going to have to, if you want to go to that Panthers game, you're going to have to pay through the nose in terms of a preseason game. You're paying that just for, you want to see the stadium. I would suggest, you know what, just hold on to your money, see how the season goes, and you might get more opportunity. 585-866-4326. That is the phone number to give us a shout here. As fun show we had, we talked to Joey Whalen, who is a U.S. Olympic hopeful. If you miss any of that, we have it up for you on our website or wherever you get your fine audio. Spotify. I got a question here from Tony. Will our station be on Sirius XM? This is a good question. WGR will be. WGR Rochester will not be. Does that make sense? So our show will not. But look, I mean, we're fine.
You can find us anywhere else.
You can find us anywhere else. Like you want to listen to the sports bar, you get the app. Wherever you get your audio, look, you're not getting shortchanged, right? Who has the quote? Oh, it's Dennis Bernstein. Hey, if you're not, you can't find me. I'm in lots of places. We got to take that attitude here on our show. 585-866-4326. Take a quick break. Last call is for you. So this will actually be the last time we take a little break before football season. I will explain what's coming up next. Gene Battaglia here, WGR Rochester.
The Sports Bar with Gene Battaglia, 95.7 FM and AM 950 WGR, Rochester.
In sports where you just have the most macho men, I always kind of find it interesting that men will break down into tears quite often when learning they're going into the Hall of Fame. Just to see, like, Jimmy Johnson quivering or just the emotion kind of pour out. And I'm like, I just think, why? Like, it's somebody else making that decision. And I don't know, like, the psychology behind it. But reading these stories that, hey, Barry Bonds was a Class A jerk, right? And Barry Bonds should be in the Hall of Fame. Is he in the Hall of Fame?
No, he's not.
No, I don't. I just had a moment of doubt. I don't know if he'll ever be. But to me, another jerk on that team, kind of overlooked because Bonds was king jerk. Jeff Kent was a jerk too. Jeff Kent was, the redneck type of guy who doing wheelies. Oh no, I was washing my truck or whatever. And for him to go into the Hall of Fame this weekend, I'm like, have we lowered the standards? Now, the counter argument would, no, they don't call it the Veterans Committee anymore, but that's what it is, where this is not the baseball writers. The writers never put him in. This is the Veterans Committee. That month's all-time second, he has the most home runs as a second baseman. Some guys switch positions like a Craig Biggio or whoever, but but does that make him a Hall of Famer? You could say, and I would point this out, well, it would be really great to, bat in front of Barry Bonds for the bulk of your career. I think it's kind of a joke that kind of the guy that batted in front of Bonds is going into the Hall of Fame, but Bonds isn't. Well, I bring this up because Jeff Kent, I guess, has been really emotional about this too, where, I don't know, is it because you feel like you've been forgotten and it's good to be noticed? Is it, hey, my life's work has been validated by somebody? Is that it?
I think that if you're in Jeff Kent's shoes and you were not ignored, but like you were looked over for the 15 years or the 10 years or whatever he was eligible for the Hall of Fame, to now at this point in his post career, it's gratifying. Like, and maybe you never thought to get to this point because of how long it took.
The litmus test for this, and I hope this happens someday. And if you ever see Steve Tasker, don't bring this up. Don't. When we were carrying the show for many years, like the voting would come around, he'd be a semifinalist, and people would congratulate Steve on being a finalist, a semifinalist, whatever it is for the Hall of Fame. He doesn't want to hear it. Doesn't want to hear it. And you could say that, and he'll be polite, and he won't say that. But that's somebody that I could see the emotion pouring out, like going along with what you're saying is like, hey, I've been overlooked on this. I'm Steve Tasker. I redefine the position of being a special teamer. Is that not good enough to get in the Hall of Fame? I think part of it, too, is, hey, we put in all these other Buffalo Bills. That's about it. No. Like, yes, I'm biased, Western New York. But Tasker always is in consideration and every year doesn't come up with it. And maybe like if a jerk like Jeff Kent, and granted, I don't know him, but I'm just reading off all other counts. Over the years at camp, we got to know Steve Tasker. Steve Tasker's just normal, good dude.
Stand-up guy who was grateful to have the career that he did.
Yeah, and he's still being around the Bills organization. Like, if that happens for Steve Tasker, I that would be the test. Like, oh my gosh, I'm finally going in.
If and when Matthew Slater of the Patriots gets in, I think that opens the door for Tasker, or I think it's just not going to happen.
I don't know. I also, like, it rubbed me the wrong way. Like, for all those years, Buck O'Neil was not in the Hall of Fame, and then he dies, and then you put him in.
Yeah,
like that. Come on, what are we doing? Like like the idea that now that Pete Rose is dead, he'll be under consideration. That's going to be the story, Tim. Like at some point, the Veterans Committee is going to like, okay, well, Pete, like no, like it doesn't do anybody any good. Like Pete Rose is dead.
You had a great career, but you're not here to enjoy your.
Why would we that was always like the infancy of sports radio. Should Pete Rose be in the Hall of Fame? Give us a call here today on the Fabulous Sports Guy show. Don't know where he come up with some of these voices. We are off tomorrow.
Whose voice was that?
It was kind of a cross between Bob Matthews and I don't know. Like it was just kind of like whatever it was.
I'll allow it.
Allow it. Tomorrow on the show, we are not going to be here. Sorry. It's the last Friday before football. We're not going to take any time off over football season. So this is a day for Tim, Dan DeLorean, and myself to just kind of recharge. We're back with you on Monday where we will have, my gosh, it's a story you already know about. New uniforms, alternate uniforms to talk about for the Buffalo Bills. If you missed any today's show, including U.S. Olympic marathon hopeful Joey Whalen, download the Odyssey app. We're on the air 1 to 3 locally here in the Flower City, and you can listen back to that at your leisure or wherever you get your fine audio. We are in podcast form. Thanks to you, Tim. Thank you to Dan DeLorean. Thank you to Nathan Glazer for stopping in. His brother PJ will be in studio with us coming up on next Friday. My name is Gene Battaglia. Show Up in the Bulldog coming your way next year on Rochester's sports leader, WGR Rochester.